Ever wonder why most heart attacks happen between 7 and 11 in the morning? The answer might be hiding in something most of us do every single day without a second thought. And chances are, it's happening in homes right now as people listen to this. Welcome back to Health Bloom, where real health conversations happen for real people. For those just joining us, this is the place where we talk about health topics that actually matter to everyday life, especially for folks in their golden years who want to stay active and vibrant. Today's conversation is close to home because it's about something so ordinary, so routine, that nobody thinks twice about it. Yet cardiologists are sounding the alarm about how this simple morning habit could be putting unnecessary strain on hearts across the country. Before diving in, if this kind of practical health information resonates, hitting that like button helps us reach more people who need to hear this. And subscribing means never missing these important conversations about taking care of ourselves better. The stakes are higher than most people realize. Research shows that morning hours carry a 40% higher risk of heart attacks compared to other times of day. That's not just a statistic, that's someone's parent, grandparent, or friend. So let's talk about what's really happening in those crucial morning hours and how small changes can make a massive difference.
Think about a typical morning. The alarm goes off, maybe hitting snooze once or twice, then it's a rush to get moving. Grab the phone, check messages, maybe scroll through news, head straight for the coffee maker because nothing else can happen until that first cup is brewing. Skip breakfast because there's no time, or maybe just not hungry yet. Sound familiar? This isn't just a routine, it's what millions of people do every single morning. But here's what most don't know. That rushed, coffee-first, skip-breakfast morning routine is actually creating a perfect storm of stress on the cardiovascular system. And it's happening when hearts are already at their most vulnerable point of the entire day. Let's talk about what's actually happening inside bodies during those morning hours. When sleep ends and consciousness begins, the body doesn't just wake up smoothly like flipping a light switch. Instead, it's more like revving an engine from 0 to 60. Blood pressure surges upward to prepare for the day ahead. Stress hormones like cortisol flood the system. Meanwhile, blood that's been relatively still during sleep becomes thicker and stickier. Platelets, the tiny cells that help blood clot, become more active. After hours without water, mild dehydration makes blood even thicker. The heart suddenly has to work much harder to pump this thicker blood through vessels that are experiencing higher pressure than they had just minutes ago during sleep. Doctors actually call the time between 7 and 11 in the morning the danger hours for hearts. That's when emergency rooms see the highest number of heart attack patients coming through their doors. The reason isn't random chance, it's this combination of physiological changes all happening at once when bodies transition from rest to activity. Now add in the typical morning rush, racing against the clock to get ready, mentally running through everything that needs to happen today, feeling that pressure to get out the door. That psychological stress triggers even more cortisol and adrenaline release. Heart rate climbs higher, blood pressure spikes further. The cardiovascular system is basically being asked to sprint when it just woke up from lying down for 8 hours.
Here's where the coffee habit enters the picture. For so many people, coffee is the first thing that goes into their body in the morning, often before any food, sometimes even before water. Now, coffee itself isn't the villain here. In fact, it has some genuine health benefits. But drinking it first thing on an empty stomach, especially during this vulnerable morning window, adds another layer of stress. When caffeine hits an empty stomach, it triggers the body to release even more cortisol on top of the natural morning surge that's already happening. It also increases stomach acid production, raises heart rate, and elevates blood pressure. For someone who already has underlying heart concerns or high blood pressure, this combination can push things into the danger zone.
Research on this is eye-opening. Studies have found that people who drink coffee or tea first thing without eating anything first tend to experience a more dramatic blood pressure spike than those who eat breakfast before their caffeine. One study even showed that waking up to a loud alarm and then immediately having coffee on an empty stomach can cause a blood pressure surge that's 74% higher than waking naturally and eating first. That brings us to the other major piece of this puzzle, skipping breakfast. This might seem like a small thing or even a good thing if someone's trying to cut calories or follow intermittent fasting, but research consistently shows that people who regularly skip breakfast have higher rates of heart disease, higher bad cholesterol levels, and increased risk of heart attacks. Here's why breakfast matters so much for heart health. After sleeping all night, the body has been fasting for 8 to 12 hours. Blood sugar levels are low. When morning arrives and no food comes in to replenish those stores, the body interprets this as a stress situation. It releases more stress hormones to break down stored glycogen and raise blood sugar artificially. This stress response puts additional strain on the cardiovascular system. Plus, people who skip breakfast tend to get hungrier later and end up eating larger meals or grabbing whatever convenient food is available when hunger finally hits hard. Often that means processed foods high in sodium and saturated fats, exactly the things that raise bad cholesterol and blood pressure over time.
Speaking of sodium, let's address what many people do eat for breakfast when they do eat. Quick options like pastries, muffins, bagels, breakfast sandwiches with bacon or sausage, sweetened cereals. These convenience foods are often loaded with hidden sodium. A typical breakfast sandwich from a fast food place can contain more than half the daily recommended sodium limit in just one meal. High sodium intake causes the body to retain fluid, which increases blood volume. More blood volume means the heart has to pump harder, raising blood pressure. Over time, consistently high blood pressure damages artery walls, increases risk of blood clots, and significantly raises heart attack and stroke risk. Processed breakfast meats add saturated fats to the mix, which raise bad cholesterol levels. Elevated bad cholesterol contributes to plaque buildup in arteries. Those plaques narrow blood vessels, restrict blood flow, and can rupture to form clots. During those vulnerable morning hours when blood is already thicker and platelets are more active, the combination of high blood pressure from sodium and narrowed arteries from cholesterol buildup creates serious risk. Now let's connect all these pieces together to see the full picture. Someone wakes up, possibly to a jarring alarm that spikes adrenaline and blood pressure immediately. They reach for their phone and start scrolling through news or messages, often encountering stressful information right away. They skip hydrating with water and go straight to coffee on an empty stomach. That coffee triggers more cortisol release and raises heart rate and blood pressure even higher. They either skip breakfast entirely or grab something high in sodium and saturated fat. Then they rush around getting ready, feeling pressured by the clock, creating more psychological stress. Finally, they dash out the door, going from minimal movement to sudden activity. Every single part of this routine is adding stress to a cardiovascular system that's already vulnerable during morning hours. It's like asking someone to run a marathon without warming up while carrying heavy weights and with reduced oxygen. Something's gotta give, and for too many people, what gives is their heart health over time, or in worst cases, a sudden cardiac event.
The good news, the really good news, is that small adjustments to morning routines can significantly reduce this cardiovascular strain. These aren't dramatic lifestyle overhauls that require moving to a mountaintop monastery. They're practical, doable changes that fit into real life while making a genuine difference for heart health. Start with how waking up happens. Instead of a blaring alarm that jolts the system into fight or flight mode, consider gentler wake-up methods.
Many newer alarm clocks and phone apps offer gradual wake features that slowly increase light or sound over 15 to 30 minutes. This gives the body time to transition naturally from sleep to waking, reducing that abrupt cortisol and adrenaline spike. The very first thing after waking should be water, not coffee. After hours without fluids, the body is mildly dehydrated. Drinking a glass of water first thing helps thin the blood slightly, supports circulation, and starts rehydration. It doesn't have to be fancy, just plain water works perfectly. This one simple habit can reduce the strain on hearts trying to pump thick, dehydrated blood through the system. Wait at least 30 to an hour after waking before having coffee or tea. Better yet, have breakfast first. This gives natural cortisol levels time to peak and start declining on their own. When caffeine enters the picture later, it's not compounding an already elevated stress hormone response. Plus, having food in the stomach buffers some of caffeine's effects on heart rate and blood pressure. Speaking of breakfast, making time for a proper morning meal is one of the most protective things anyone can do for their heart. The goal is a balanced plate with protein, healthy fats, and fiber. Think eggs with vegetables and whole grain toast, Greek yogurt with berries and nuts, oatmeal topped with sliced banana and a spoonful of nut butter. These combinations stabilize blood sugar, provide sustained energy, and don't spike blood pressure like processed options do. Protein is especially important in the morning. It helps keep blood sugar steady, which prevents the energy crashes that lead to grabbing unhealthy snacks later. Fiber from whole grains, fruits, and vegetables supports heart health by helping lower cholesterol levels and improving blood pressure over time. Healthy fats from sources like nuts, avocados, and olive oil provide satiety and support cardiovascular function. What to avoid? Those convenience breakfast foods loaded with sodium and saturated fat. Processed breakfast meats like bacon and sausage. Pastries and sweet baked goods with added sugars, white bread products that spike blood sugar, high-sodium frozen breakfast sandwiches, sweetened cereals that are basically dessert in a bowl. Reading nutrition labels makes a huge difference in identifying hidden sodium and sugar. Beyond food and drink, the pace of the morning matters tremendously. Rushing creates stress. Stress elevates cortisol and adrenaline, and those hormones strain the heart. The solution is building in extra time. Set the alarm 15 or 20 minutes earlier than absolutely necessary. Use those minutes to move slowly, stretch gently, maybe do some deep breathing exercises. Even just sitting quietly for 5 minutes while drinking that glass of water can help. This isn't wasted time, it's an investment in cardiovascular health. Think of it as giving the heart a gentle warm-up period instead of forcing it to go from 0 to full speed instantly. The difference in how the body feels throughout the entire day can be remarkable. Movement in the morning is beneficial, but the type and timing matter. Jumping straight into intense exercise right after waking can be risky for some people, especially those with existing heart conditions. The safer approach is gentle movement first. Some light stretching, a slow walk around the house or yard, easy yoga poses. These activities help circulation gradually increase without shocking the system. For those who do morning workouts, having something to eat first and giving the body at least 30 minutes to wake up properly makes the exercise safer and more effective. Hydrating before, during, and after activity is crucial, and paying attention to how the body feels matters. If there's unusual shortness of breath, chest discomfort, or excessive fatigue, that's worth mentioning to a doctor. Managing stress starts the moment eyes open. Resist the urge to immediately grab the phone and dive into email, news, or social media. So much of what appears on screens first thing in the morning is designed to provoke emotional reactions, whether that's outrage, fear, anxiety, or comparison.
Starting the day with that kind of content floods the system with stress hormones before even getting out of bed.
Instead, consider a digital detox for the first 30 to 60 minutes of the day. Use that time for the slow wake-up, water, movement, breakfast, maybe some time with family or pets. Engage with calming activities that set a peaceful tone. Listen to music. Sit outside if weather permits. Read something uplifting. Journal or practice gratitude. These aren't fluffy extras. They're legitimate stress management techniques that protect cardiovascular health. For people who take medications for blood pressure, cholesterol, or other heart-related conditions, taking them on time every single morning is critical. Skipping doses or taking them inconsistently undermines their effectiveness. Many heart medications are specifically timed to provide protection during vulnerable morning hours. Set a reminder, link it to another daily habit like brushing teeth, whatever it takes to maintain consistency. Equally important is regular monitoring for anyone with existing heart concerns or risk factors. That means keeping doctor appointments, getting recommended tests done, tracking blood pressure at home if advised. Early detection of problems allows for intervention before they become emergencies. Many heart issues develop gradually and show warning signs long before a major event occurs. Catching those signs requires paying attention. What are those warning signs worth noting? Unusual fatigue that isn't explained by poor sleep or increased activity. Shortness of breath during normal activities that didn't used to cause breathlessness. Chest discomfort, pressure, or tightness, especially if it happens with exertion and improves with rest. Pain or discomfort in the jaw, neck, shoulders, or arms. Dizziness or lightheadedness. Heart palpitations or irregular heartbeat, swelling in feet, ankles, or legs. None of these symptoms should be ignored or dismissed as just getting older. They deserve medical evaluation. The earlier heart problems get addressed, the better the outcomes. And for anyone experiencing severe chest pain, pain radiating down the left arm, sudden shortness of breath, or other signs of a possible heart attack, calling emergency services immediately could be life-saving. Don't drive to the hospital. Don't wait to see if it passes. Call for help right away. Let's talk about some specific populations who need to be especially mindful of morning heart strain. People with diabetes face higher cardiovascular risk and need to be particularly careful about blood sugar management in the morning. Skipping breakfast can cause dangerous blood sugar swings. Having a balanced meal with protein and complex carbs helps maintain stability and protect both blood sugar levels and heart health. Those with high blood pressure already have hearts working harder than optimal. Adding morning stress on top of that baseline pressure can push numbers into dangerous territory. Medication compliance is essential, as is managing all the lifestyle factors discussed. Reducing sodium intake, maintaining healthy weight, staying active, managing stress, and getting adequate sleep all work together to support better blood pressure control. People with high cholesterol need to focus on heart-healthy food choices at breakfast. That means emphasizing sources of fiber, like oats, which help lower bad cholesterol. Including healthy fats from nuts and seeds. Choosing lean proteins, avoiding saturated fats from processed meats and full-fat dairy. Over time, these dietary patterns can meaningfully improve cholesterol profiles and reduce cardiovascular risk. Smokers face dramatically elevated heart risk, and the morning cigarette compounds the problem. Nicotine constricts blood vessels, raises blood pressure, and increases heart rate, all while blood is already thick and platelets are already sticky from sleep. Quitting smoking is the single most impactful thing a smoker can do for heart health. Resources exist to help, from nicotine replacement to prescription medications to counseling support. For older adults, morning routines require extra care. Aging brings natural changes to the cardiovascular system. Blood vessels become less flexible, hearts don't pump quite as efficiently, blood pressure tends to rise. These changes mean the morning surge in blood pressure and heart rate can be more pronounced. Taking time to wake slowly, move gently, and avoid rushing becomes even more important with age. People who've already had a heart attack or other cardiac event need to work closely with their healthcare team on safe morning routines. Recovery and prevention plans should include specific guidance about wake-up times, medication schedules, safe exercise protocols, and warning signs to watch for. Cardiac rehabilitation programs often provide this education and support. Even people who consider themselves healthy and low risk can benefit from heart protective morning habits. Prevention is always easier than treatment. Building these practices now creates a foundation for long-term cardiovascular health. Plus, the benefits extend beyond the heart. Better stress management improves mental health. Regular, healthy breakfasts support stable energy and better weight management. Adequate hydration helps every body system function optimally.
The research supporting all of this is solid. Multiple large studies have consistently shown associations between breakfast skipping and increased cardiovascular disease risk. Research on cortisol, blood pressure surges, and circadian rhythms has clarified why morning hours are so vulnerable. Studies on sodium intake, cholesterol management, and lifestyle factors have demonstrated clear connections to heart outcomes. What's especially compelling is that the interventions work. People who improve their morning routines see measurable benefits. Blood pressure numbers improve, cholesterol levels come down, energy and mood stabilize. The risk of cardiovascular events decreases. These aren't theoretical possibilities. They're documented outcomes from people making exactly the kind of changes we've discussed here. One thing that sometimes gets lost in health conversations is the importance of consistency. Making these changes once or twice won't move the needle much. It's the daily repetition, the habits that become automatic, that create real transformation. That first week of setting the alarm earlier might feel hard, but by week 3 or 4, it becomes the new normal. Same with eating breakfast or drinking water first, or moving slowly through the morning. Building new habits takes patience and self-compassion. There will be mornings when the alarm gets snoozed too many times and there's no time for breakfast. That's okay. One skipped breakfast doesn't undo all the other healthy mornings. What matters is the overall pattern, the majority of days. Progress isn't perfection, it's consistency over time with room for being human. Support systems make habit changes easier. If there's a partner or family member to share new morning routines with, that built-in accountability helps. Maybe it's preparing breakfast together or taking a morning walk together. If living alone, connecting with friends who are also working on health goals can provide encouragement. Even online communities focused on heart health can offer support and motivation. Tracking progress can be motivating for some people, whether that's keeping a simple journal of how mornings went, or using apps to track water intake and breakfast, or monitoring blood pressure numbers over time. Seeing improvements unfold provides concrete evidence that the changes are working. It creates positive reinforcement to continue the new habits.
There's also value in understanding the why behind these recommendations. It's one thing to be told to drink water first thing or eat breakfast. It's another to understand that water helps thin blood and reduce cardiovascular strain, or that breakfast stabilizes blood sugar and prevents stress hormone spikes. When the reasons make sense, following through becomes easier because it's not just a rule, it's a choice based on understanding. Medical care remains essential alongside lifestyle changes. Regular checkups allow for monitoring of blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar, and other heart health markers. Doctors can provide personalized guidance based on individual risk factors and health history. Some people may need medications, others might benefit from referrals to specialists. Lifestyle improvements work best as part of a comprehensive approach to cardiovascular care. Technology offers helpful tools. Smartwatches and fitness trackers can monitor heart rate and activity levels. Blood pressure monitors for home use let people track their numbers between doctor visits. Apps can send reminders to take medications or drink water. These tools aren't necessary for everyone, but for some people, they provide useful information and support for maintaining healthy habits. Let's address some common questions that come up around these topics. First, what about intermittent fasting? Some people deliberately skip breakfast as part of time-restricted eating patterns. The research on intermittent fasting in heart health is mixed. For some people, when done properly and under medical guidance, it can be safe. But it's different from habitually skipping breakfast without any structure or nutritional planning. Anyone considering intermittent fasting should discuss it with their doctor first. Another question, is decaf coffee okay in the morning? Decaffeinated coffee has minimal caffeine, so it doesn't trigger the same cortisol and blood pressure responses as regular coffee. For people who love their morning coffee ritual but want to reduce caffeine's impact, decaf can be a good option. Still best to have it with or after breakfast rather than on an empty stomach, and staying hydrated with water remains important. What about tea versus coffee? Tea generally contains less caffeine than coffee, though this varies by type. Black tea has more caffeine than green or white tea. The same principles apply, though. Having it with food rather than on an empty stomach reduces potential negative effects on cortisol and blood pressure. Herbal teas that are naturally caffeine-free can be enjoyed anytime without concern.
Here's the bottom line of everything we've covered today. Morning routines that seem harmless or even normal, rushing out the door, coffee first thing on an empty stomach, skipping breakfast, immediately diving into stressful activities, these patterns create genuine strain on cardiovascular systems during the most vulnerable hours of the day. The science is clear that mornings carry higher heart attack risk because of natural physiological changes happening as bodies wake up. Blood pressure surges, stress hormones spike, blood thickens, and hearts work harder. Adding lifestyle stressors on top of those biological realities compounds the risk in ways that add up over time. But here's the empowering truth. Small, practical changes to morning routines can significantly reduce that cardiovascular strain. Waking gradually instead of abruptly, drinking water first thing, waiting to have coffee until after eating, making time for a balanced breakfast with protein and fiber, moving slowly and gently rather than rushing, managing stress by avoiding immediate screen time. These aren't difficult changes, they're adjustments that become natural with practice. For anyone listening who recognizes their own morning routine in this conversation, consider this an invitation to experiment with some modifications. Pick 1 or 2 changes to try for a week and notice how it feels. Maybe it's setting the alarm 15 minutes earlier to reduce rushing. Maybe it's keeping a water bottle by the bed to drink upon waking. Maybe it's preparing simple breakfast items the night before. Hearts are remarkable organs that work tirelessly every moment of every day. They deserve care and protection, especially during those vulnerable morning hours. The investment of time and attention into healthier morning routines pays dividends in energy, well-being, and cardiovascular health for years to come. If this conversation sparked any aha moments or useful insights, sharing it helps others who might be unknowingly putting strain on their own hearts each morning. The like button tells the algorithm to show this to more people who could benefit. Subscribing means staying connected for future conversations about practical health topics that matter. And comments are always welcome, whether it's sharing your own morning routine changes or questions about heart health. Thanks for spending this time together on something so important. Until next time, here's to healthier mornings and hearts that thrive. Take care of yourselves out there.